You're told what to do. Do your job the best you can. It's not your responsibility to point fingers at anyone else. Like, you work as a unit, because those guys that play within a team concept end up having success. And I think it's really critical. Don't worry about individual accolades and worry about things that are irrelevant. Like, get better. Like, want to get better. Want to be better. And guys, it's okay, by the way. Like, if you don't, it's okay too. But the harsh reality is it's up to you guys. I played Mickey Mouse to, in my mind, hockey, it wasn't as good as any of you guys. I played Division III hockey at a small school in Maine and didn't do it that well, but it gave me an opportunity to be in the hockey business and have the luxury of working with professional athletes and following my passion. So, for some of you, for all of you, perhaps your goal is to play in the National Hockey League, and great, let it be your goal. It should be, but it doesn't happen by accident. Guys don't make it by accident. Guys don't get lucky. There's bumps along the way. There's different challenges you're on. Excuse my language. Shitty teams, great teams, in between teams. Your coach doesn't play you enough. He plays someone else too much. I don't like my line man. Believe me, it happens at the NHL level. We're all human, but don't be that way. Worry about what you can control, and don't be a finger pointer. I'm telling you, the more you learn that now inside the hockey rink and outside of it, you'll be better served. Be accountable and listen to those that want to help you. And you're not always going to hear what you like. That's the other thing. And don't take it personally. We all have bosses. We all have people that tell us things we don't want. We have coaches. I'm sure you guys, have your feelings about the 4 coaches in the room sometimes. It happens. They're big boys. They know. They're not naive. They know. It's okay. But accepting that is part of growing as a player and as a person. Yeah.
What age do you start needing an agent, and what do agents help you do?
That is a good question. A lot of people really like the answer to the second one. It's tricky. I was just saying to the guys, and I actually had a funny conversation with a professional baseball player today who my company represents. He happened to be in our office, and he asked me the same thing. And, it's interesting. American players actually have probably more options than anyone, even the Canadians in a sense, because if you're American, certain ages, there's the US program, there's the USHL, there's the North American League, you can still play Major Junior in Canada. There's a host of options. You're not limited. I think every situation is a little different. I think every player is a little different in their circumstance. I really don't think players need family advisors until maybe bordering 14, 15, depending on the situation. They don't even necessarily need them then. It kind of depends on what's going on. So without making it scientific, I think 14, 15 is probably a soft age. In terms of what agents do, it's a great question, or advisors. I know how I define it. Other hockey agents, other sports agents, other agents of talent might have a different definition. To me, it's simply put, the role of an agent is to optimize our clients' upside and probably more importantly, protect their downside. That's as simple as I can say it. So if you're player X at 14 years old, we know what's your goal. Your goal is to make the National Hockey League. So our job would be, okay, you're here now. This is where you want to get to. How do we form a plan that gets you there, that makes sure you're on track to achieve what you're trying to achieve, right? And it's not going to be pretty. You guys are going to get cut from teams. You're going to play less minutes than you want to play. Sidney Crosby didn't kill penalties for a long time. He still doesn't. It's never going to be perfect, right? So, but our role as an agent is to go through that with you, right? Is to give you a plan, look to help you achieve what you want to achieve in terms of playing the National Hockey League or using hockey, but then in between help you with the ups and downs, help you navigate. Well, Coach Bokus was mean to me today at practice. How do I handle that? And working through how to communicate so you're helping yourself. So it's really being there for you guys on the journey, educating you, and sometimes it's not transactional, it's not business, it's just having a sounding board. Does that make sense?
Sometimes you need to call somebody besides mom and dad to get some advice from.
And mom and dad need to call someone else too sometimes to get advice.
Kenny, what do you have?
What does an off season look like for Austin Matthews and Roman Josi?
Question. Every player, depending on when your season ends or doesn't end, right? You can have a longer summer. Of course, every player wants a short summer and wants to play till June 15th and win the Stanley Cup. But I think in those two guys' cases and most players, they usually most players stay a week in their home city. There's exit meetings with the NHL team. They close up shop, say bye to their teammates, and then Maybe have a week or two of chilling out, let the body rest, maybe a little vacation, and then it's back to work pretty quickly and getting into their off-ice routine. And then similar to how I would say an advisor builds a plan, I like to think of players having teams of people, right? Your family is your core, and that's most important. And then you build a team around, or you have a trainer, you have a nutritionist, you have a skills coach. Like, you build a team, so whether it's Team Matthews, Team Yossi, you have that system. And so they all both have trainers. As they get back, they have your food program, what they're eating all summer, how they're training. They get blood work done, hair samples, all sorts of things to make sure their body's operating at the best rate. And then it's a pretty simple routine. They wake up, they train. Every guy's different. Some guys start skating earlier in the summer and some guys later. They wake up, they go to the gym and eat lunch, and then they golf. It's a good life. I wish I would have worked harder. Maybe I would have had that.
Go ahead, Z.
How do you help during the regular season? Because they play a lot, so you can't really always see them. So how are you gonna help them and optimize them?
These are good questions. You guys think of these just on the spot, or is this pre-programmed?
Student athletes.
I like it. It's kind of an extension in a good way of the question your teammate asked about what an agent does. I mean, I think we do different things at different times in a guy's career, and so during the season, there's players that are happy as heck, right? They're on a goal scoring streak and the team's winning, and they don't need their agent. And it's easy for an agent to text a guy when it's going good. It's easy. Oh, you had 2 goals. That's great. During the season, it's being there for guys when it's not so great. Currently, I have another client who's in the AHL right now. Played the Boston University last year, and he's now in the AHL Colorado system. Shane Bowers. He's hurt, first year pro. So helping him manage not just physically with the doctors and second opinions and making sure that it's handled the right way, but then the mental part of how you come back, right? The Nashville Predators, I don't think I'm talking out of school. They're in a bit of a tizzy right now in terms of being consistent with winning, and so spoke with Roman today. He's a captain of their team, and just trying to see what the climate is in the room and try and give different advice depending on how a guy's doing. But for us as advisors, you look at your clients, and sometimes one guy's doing really great, it's all going well, another guy not so much, and everything in between. So you have to be educated. We understand the business and the CBA and contracts and all that stuff, but it's being there, being a support system, being someone they can talk to, and it's safe and it's private. And so I think it's just being there for guys, because the pursuit of life, never mind being a hockey player, will go like this, guys. It's going to be ups and downs, and that's okay. It's all part of it. So we try and be there for the guys when it's not so easy, because anyone can be there when you scored 3 goals, I text you, oh wow, look what I did. But can I be there for you when you're -3, you got benched, you hate your coach, it's not going so well? Can we be there for you then? To me, that's really the role of an agent, being there when it's not warm and fuzzy.
In what capacity of being there?
It's a combination of, consistent dialogue. It's seeing a guy, it's going to have dinner, going to have lunch. If a guy's really in a certain, he needs some FaceTime, needs some quality time. Sometimes guys can work through it over the phone. It kind of depends, but it's whatever it takes for a guy to get on track. And some guys just are in a bad mood for a couple days, a couple good conversations, they're on their way. Some guys, you need to be there more. You might need to go spend a weekend in a city and have a couple lunches and be, what's going on? Maybe you aren't communicating with your coach right away. I got your back, player X. I work for you, but in working for you, I have to help you achieve the best result. And it's not just saying, yes, you're right, coach is wrong, GM's right. It's figuring out in each situation what the player's issue is and then coming up with a plan on how to best fix that. But my job, as much as I want to tell players all the time exactly what they want to hear, is to tell guys the truth, right? And telling guys the truth doesn't mean I don't have your back or we don't have your back, but you can't always be told what you want to hear, even if we all have your best interests at heart.
What do you think about college versus major juniors?
This is a
Careful, parents are in the room.
no. This is I like this question because I'll answer it the way I always answer it, which is I'm not in stats. What I mean by stats is I don't read percentage of players who went one route or another, because for me, I work for individual players in individual unique situations. So it goes back to curating. You guys know what that word means? It's okay, you can be honest.
Nope.
Okay.
Sebby, you're in honors English. You should know that.
Someone should Google that quickly. It's about curating. Curating means specifically making a specific plan. What's your name?
question.
Sebastian, what's your name? Ty. So it's like saying, Sebastian, what position do you play?
Right wing.
What position do you play? Okay. So it's even better. You might both be right wingers. Who coaches them?
I have one.
of each.
So you both might be right wingers. You both might play a different style for whatever reason. So you might, because you play the same position, doesn't mean you play the same style, have the same impact on the game. So it's the same thing as, let's say, going now to your question about what route you go. Every player is different. Every player, different position. The way they play the position is different. Their maturity, quite frankly, physically and mentally is different. So I don't think there's a blanket answer to say you go one route or another. I think it gets very, very specific in terms of, again, the situation. For some players going to the WHL, which most of you guys are, obviously that would be the major junior league based on where you guys live, is an excellent league. It might be good for some of you, it might not be good for others. Some of you might have the ability to play at the U.S. National program. It's a great option for some haven't enjoyed it. There's the USHL. So there's no, you should go to this league or that league, or if you go to this league, you'll make it. I got news for you guys. You guys all grew up with tablets and Facebook and your phones. You guys know better than all of us. If you're good enough, if you care enough, and it goes back to the earlier remarks, if you're good enough and you care enough and you want it, they will find you. So you should pick the league that goes back to that example of, if you're here today and you want to be here, what is the best way to get you there? And the you is your individual. You might be better off going to play, I'm making this up, for Regina. Why? Because they love you, they're low on draft, their position, you love the coach, it's the right fit, you like the billets, it makes sense, it's a real opportunity, you've been educated on what you're giving up on Division I. Great. Another family might say, you know what, why would I do that when I can go to the U? And I'm not physically, my son's not physically mature enough. Gasper and I were talking about before, people think they go to major junior at 14, 15, you're playing against guys 3, 4 years older than you. They're strong, they've been drafted, they're signed. So, you don't want to run too quickly, right? Go where you can play. Austin Matthews, going back, I think Jack knows this, Austin Matthews' dad, and I give him credit, before I was lucky enough to advise him, pulled him out of AAA. He pulled him out of AAA and he played AA because he wasn't playing enough at AAA. So the answer is, there is no answer. It's when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have to make this decision. Let me educate myself. Let me see what each route looks like. And then that's part of what an advisor would do, is help you be like, okay, well, why do you want to go to Regina? Or why do you want to go to the Dub? Why do you want to go to the US program? Why do you want to go to USHL? Tell me, explain it to me. If you tell me because you like Regina's helmets better than the Green Bay Gamblers, that's stupid. If you tell me that you really love the experience of Regina, you totally understand that you're going to give up your college eligibility and you can live with that, great. So it just depends.
With kind of piggybacking on that too, Judd, is they're getting to the age now where there's going to be people that are watching them play. You look at the NHL and not every team has 12 forwards that are goal scorers. What advice would you give these guys on when they go to a tournament? We're not always, playing games where people are watching, but we go to these tournaments, or even if it's a local game. What advice would you give these guys on what these scouts, what these coaches are looking for if they catch a period or a game at one of these tournaments?
The thing I hear all the time from coaches, your coaches, NHL coaches, AGMs, GMs, is they want players who impact the game. You have to do something, right? Just putting on your helmet and your equipment, tying your skates, and looking good in warm-up with the chin strap down isn't really good enough, right? Like, you have to impact the game, and you have to accept your role and what your identity is. There are players that played junior hockey, WHL, whatever the route, college, whatever, and they were scorers, and they get to the NHL, and they can't be a scorer at the NHL. You have to adjust. You have to accept your role, accept what you are, and how you contribute to the team. Scouts, GMs, people that are looking at you guys are looking, how does this player impact the game, and what are they going to look like? Nobody thinks that any of you guys at your age are finished products, right? Players get drafted in the NHL at 18, they're not finished products. There's players that are 20, 21, playing the AHL, just had the jersey, been up on the draft stage, they're not finished products. So if guys that are signed, playing professional hockey, that are 7, 8 years older than you guys aren't finished products, you guys can do the math, right? It means you're not finished products. So make an impact on the game. Do something. If you're the penalty kill guy and you really want to play on the power play, but it's just not your turn right now, be the best freaking penalty killer you can be. Your coaches will notice. They will notice. Make it so. Always be thinking, how can I impact the game? But in saying that, don't run across out of position and do something stupid. Don't try and make a hero play. But don't just be out there to be out there. Like, do something. Contribute. Whether you have 1 minute or 20 minutes, make plays. Do something. Because otherwise, if you want to play more than you're playing, or you want to have more of a role, and you just kind of take the, well, I'm not getting on the power play. Well, then you're never going to get on the power play. Make sense?
Can I just add one more thing to that? So with that being said, a lot of people think impacting the game means goals and assists, and like, I wasn't on the score sheet every game. How do you combat that mentality that you have to be a point guy to impact the game? Certainly impact, goals and assists are great, but like you said, not everybody can be that guy, and there's certainly a place for guys like that down the road.
No, for sure. It's tricky because I won't speak as a coach, but I would think as a coach and certainly as an advisor, you don't want to take away a client or a player's lust to be great and passion to be great and want to score and want to make a big play. You don't want to take that away, but you want to balance that passionate desire to do that if that doesn't happen, pouting or thinking you didn't play well, right? Like, there are guys within the National Hockey League, which I just can't and won't name, whose team will win 6-1, they will have no points, and they will pout in the dressing room. You think their teammates look around and say, oh, poor little Johnny, we won 6-1, but he didn't score? No, they're like, what a jerk. Like, we're here together. So do not worry about goals and assists. I got bad news for everyone in this room. Whether you score 20 goals this year or 2 goals is not going to be why any of you make it or don't make it to the NHL. It's a process. Who cares? But saying that doesn't mean you shouldn't be competitive. It doesn't mean you shouldn't come in the rink and want to be the best player and want to dominate in however you do. But if you don't score, that's not, well, I didn't score tonight. I didn't have assists. I must have played like shit. That's stupid. Because you're not going to score every game.
That's more of what I was getting at.
Yeah, you're just not. Yeah, and you're going to score some games and you'll play like shit. It's amazing how it works. Guys sometimes have 1 and 2 and they didn't play well. Sometimes guys have no points and they played really well. But it's the consistent. It's like what you do over, how many games you guys play? 60 games?
Yep.
So it's to me, you want to see what did you look like over 55 games, not what do you look like over 2 or 3 games. It doesn't matter.
So you have a player that, oh sorry, is it somebody else? Go ahead.
You are connected to that, so go.
Oh, yay. So you have a player that has an option to go between the 3 leagues. Let's just say the BC Western League and the USHL. They're probably the 3 top junior leagues in North America. You have an inside connection on each coach of all the teams that they're playing with. Could that make any of your decision to promote or not promote, but push that player that direction?
Yes and no. It depends, like anything, and I don't mean to keep saying that, but it's just, for me, for you guys, the first time you're hearing it for a lot of you, but for me, it seems like a broken record in my head. It really depends on the situation. There's situations where if I know a coach or I know a GM, it makes it better because there's trust, right? That can also become precarious because my job is to the player, not to some relationship I have.
Right.
So I kind of vet that and try and be honest. So take you guys. I know all these coaches. I'll give an example of. I'll give 2 examples. BU. The head coach of Boston University is a very good friend of mine. He was my assistant coach when I was a senior in college. There's one example of a top college program. There's a general manager in the NHL who I'm very good, close personal friends with in particular. And there's a couple of junior programs I know better. What I would do in each situation, if any of those places, to your point, coach, were attractive for a player, is I just set the table. I tell the client, hey, I do know this person personally. There is a relationship. I'm not pretending,
Right.
but I work for you. We'll all be transparent. And yeah, if everyone knows what we're going into, and just because I know them doesn't mean your kid's playing every shift. And just because I know you, coach, doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. As long as the cards are on the table, I like it because there's trust. So I would send players to any of these coaches because I know these guys. I know they're going to do what's right for you, what's best for you. Doesn't mean they may not call me and say, Judd, player X wasn't playing well in practice, but there's at least an open dialogue of trust. It gets precarious when you get too close to one side. You're trying to represent a player, and then it's, you always work for the player. But I would say it's not a negative to send someone somewhere I know, but I'm not also like, because I know someone, they have to go there. Or if I don't know someone, I'm not going to not send them there either. Because maybe there's a new great coach that I don't know, and that's a better situation.
How much do parents get involved? Too much?
I think sometimes, yeah. I think they do, and I would say it to the parents that I've worked with in the past, and to the parents that I work with now. I don't want to say it's too much. I would say it's just managing the system, right? Like, I'm big into being connected to the family because nobody knows their son like their siblings, quite frankly, or their parents or their immediate family. I know when I played, I talked to my dad in the car after every game and chatted. So I know, I don't think the family dynamic should ever be removed. I think it's setting the cards on the table and working together and saying, look, we're all on the same page. Parents want their sons, their daughters, as it may be, to make it to whatever. We as advisors want you to make it. Coaches want players to advance. I think parents just have to know how to balance out letting their kid be a kid, being parents, but knowing when to push and pull. And for me, like, I get hired to do a job at a certain point. Let me do my job for you. And I need the parents. I need parents involved because we work together like on how to best communicate with their son, and it works well. But what I'm trying to do is be honest with parents, including those of you in the room. Like, I'll tell a parent if I think they're being, excuse my language, effing crazy.
Yeah. Good.
But in the right way, respectfully, right? Like, you're allowed to be emotional, but don't.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just you're
with all due respect.
No, at the beginning of my career, I would get calls from family, and I would be like, we gotta get this guy traded. Like, I would react to the emotion. And now I realize you guys are all human. You as players, you as coaches, you as parents, you're all human. Like, so now I know sometimes if a parent calls like hot on the set, they're not coming at me. They're just pissed. You get excited to watch your kid play. It doesn't go the way you want it to. You know what? We get it, but it's more like just yell into my ear. Don't tell anyone else. Keep your circle small too. Don't talk so much. I tell parents too, like with respect. Like just, bite your hand. Like sing a song, count to 10.
I'm sure you've been in a situation where you have a parent telling a player he should be playing this type of he's in the wrong position, this coach doesn't know what you're doing. That player seems to like what he's doing and playing well and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden he's coming to you going, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, my parents are pissed, they're not happy with it. I'm sure you've been in that situation.
A ton.
Yeah.
I would say let's all get on the phone.
Yeah.
So let's all get on the phone, talk about it.
Right. And you got 3 different voices speaking at the player. That's got to be confusing for him as well, right?
It can be, and that's why I like to get everyone now, especially, and I try to get better at my job as like players get better at their job. Like I try and put everyone, as I'll say, I put everyone on the dance floor. Because it's not fair to the parents in the room and to the players that, I'm talking to mom and dad, or mom and then dad and then the player, and then like I'm giving the right messaging, but it doesn't get.
Right.
So instead, let's all get on the phone, and this, I guess this is the implication that like you as parents and as players are trusting me already at that point, that if I'm like, hey, let's all get on the phone, let's talk about it, let's get on the same page, because if you're here and he's here and I'm there and we're there, like we're never going to get this, of course, corrected. So I think getting everyone on the phone together, like Shane Bowers, it's not telling you guys anything that's inappropriate. Player I mentioned, a client before, suffered a minor injury. He's 20 years old. He's a very mature guy. He's a good kid. He checks all the boxes. First round pick, good person, wants it. I'm group texting with his mom and dad and him about his injury. About, do we get the MRI? Are we cleared? Not because he's a baby, not because I'm trying to treat him like an infant, but like we're all connected. It's saving him time. The parents are in the know. We're all looped in. So I think it's bringing everyone like this and working together. But me having the courage, quite frankly, to tell parents what they don't want to hear.
You said about checking boxes. So I was gonna go to ask you, before you start working with someone, what are your boxes that you need to check?
Like I said at the beginning, I mean, I'm here, no question. I am what I am. I don't have trapdoors in my shirt. I do represent players. I do that for a living. It pays my rent. It's what I do. So I am here with that hat on in part. But in part, I'm here because I care about players. I love the game. My whole professional career has been about players. So whether you play in the NHL or not, I want to be helpful. There's no question my boxes to check are I'm looking for players who can play in the National Hockey League. You know, I'm looking for guys that are going to be able to play. There's no guarantee, but when I say we as a group, I've got great partners and great colleagues. We've got a great staff that's around the world and expanding. But that's the simplest box. Can you play in the NHL? Do you have the ability to do that? There's no guarantees at 18, so there's no guarantees at 14, 15, 16, but that would be the first thing. Within that giant box of can you play in the National Hockey League, it's what are your habits? Are you a good person? What's your character? And what are you going to look like as you get older? Right? It's, you know, we're not trying to represent you to be the best 14-year-old player, which ties in what Jack was alluding to before. Not trying to represent you to be the best 14-year-old player ever or the best 15-year-old player. If you are, great, it's awesome. Good for you. But it's, do we see a path where this player has the physical skill, and then to me, it's the mental skill. There's a lot of guys that skate well, they look good in practice, they look great in their jersey, they're flowing, they toe drag, and then you get to the games, you're like, where are you? And then at 15, 16, they're like, I'd rather go to that concert on Friday night than go to bed at 9. Doesn't make anybody wrong. I did that, and look where, you know, like, I get it. You know, like, it's like, but that's it. It's can you play in the National Hockey League, and then within that, what's your physicality, what's your mental, are you a good person? Very rarely are guys making it these days if you're a dink. It's true.
Sorry, Stebby.
Doesn't mean you can't have swagger, but treat people the way you want to be treated.
You got time for one more?
Yeah.
All right, do one more.
So me and two other boys on this team have already done it, but what age do you really think we need to leave home? Like or do you have an age where you'd say like don't go far until like 15 or 16?
Yeah, I would stay at home. Well, go ahead. Sorry if you have more part two. But yeah, I would stay at home as long as you can, because most of your, again, it's case specific. Because I say that, but if you're in a bad situation, well, obviously. But assuming it's a good situation, I would stay at home as long as you can, because for those of you that are going to go on and leave home, you're going to spend way more time, no matter when you leave, away from home. Because the reality is, most of you, and everyone's path is different, by the way. Remember that. Don't be comparing yourself too much to other people. Some guys make it by being first overall. Some guys make it undrafted. Some guys make it from the 4th round. Some guys have to play in the AHL for 2 years. Some guys don't play, so don't be your own person. But I would say stay at home as long as possible, because you're going to probably have to leave home at 15, 16, likely anyway. So those that race out at 13, 14, 15, go to Michigan, go to Minnesota, go to Colorado, like, why? You guys live in LA. Like, I wouldn't leave.
Maybe a better question and is, instead of an age perspective, at what point is it the right time to leave? Like, is it when you're the very best player where you are and there's no longer the competition there and you have to go somewhere else?
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. When you're not being challenged, you're not improving, and you're stuck, and if there's another opportunity that can help you improve at a faster rate, then yeah. You go when you stop getting better.
Got it.
One last word.
Yeah, go ahead.
So,
yeah.
New dimension that these guys all have to deal with today, social media. Right?
Yes.
So, and I think a lot of people feel there's a lot of pressure to be self-promoted or promoted by these other channels. How much does that come into play as you move up? Do they even see that stuff? Do they care? Like, how would you kind of...
Great question. First of all, for less of a sophisticated statement, don't be stupid on social media. It stays there forever. So what you think is cute in a moment, it's there forever. And NHL teams and good major junior teams and college teams and all that, they're looking too. You know, so you're allowed to be kids, but in general, and I'll go to specifics of the promotion, but be smart in your social media habits, because it lives there forever. So we tell our NHL players, like, be careful what you tweet, what you post, what you share, what you DM, because it's there. So I hope some of you sleep with one eye open tonight. As far as the promotion of it, it's funny, man. I'm a promoter and it says we sell our players, but I think it's if you're good enough, they find you. I think the idea of tweeting videos about yourself and doing that, I mean, if people want to do it because it's familial and you want to share with friends, like, I would never criticize that because it's exciting. My son scored or he didn't score, because it doesn't matter if you score. And I want to see the video or share it with friends is one thing, but in a way of like, oh, well, I better get this video to US program, or I better get to USHL, but like, they're everywhere. So I would say no. I would say the best thing is eat clean, go to bed, respect your coaches, your teammates, train hard, and let what you do on the ice do all your promoting. You don't need to do anything else. If you are good enough, they will find you. I guarantee you guys, WHL and USHL scouts know your schedule, they're tracking it, they're calling your coaches soon. No one in this room will be hidden. So I would personally, if a client asked me at the 15th, I would say no, play. Put pucks in the net or block shots or save or chip the puck in deep. That'll get you the next level, not posting how good you are.